Gold is spiking. Nations are pulling their reserves out of global banks. King Charles may be facing his final Christmas, and Israel now believes a major war is coming in the next 12 months. What does all this mean? Today we're looking at the gold markets, the kings of the earth, and the warnings of war and what 2026 may be signaling to the world. Welcome to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're so happy you've joined us today. We're going to get into what this King Charles situation could be pointing to, specifically in regards to his relationship with the Vatican and the Pope. You're not going to want to miss today's show, but we do need your help. Make sure that you share this message right now. Make sure that you are giving us a heart or a thumbs up wherever you're at. Show us some love in that way, and be sure you're engaging in the chat. I would love to hear from you today, to hear what you think about which one of these things do you think will hit first in 2026. The gold rising, the kings are weakening, and war clouds are forming. What are we going to see first in 2026? Let's hear your thoughts on that. And also, time's almost up. The Endtime Christmas sale is happening right now, ends on December 31st. This is your final chance to grab some of the most impactful prophecy resources we've ever offered at prices that will not come back. We're talking classic and modern teachings, DVDs, books, Bible studies, starting at just $1. From original lessons to powerful resources from across the ministry, these tools are designed to help you and your family understand what's happening and why it matters. But here's the deal. Inventory is running out, and when it's gone, that's it. We are not restocking. There's not going to be any rain checks because there'll be nothing there to fulfill them with. So it's just the end of an offer that you'll wish you'd taken advantage of. So go to endtime.com/deals or call 800-363-8463 before midnight on December 31st. All right.
Wait, seriously?
What?
Every time you do that commercial, I just feel like saying, are you serious?
I'm serious.
Because you say, seriously. when they're gone, they're gone.
They are gone. I hope people really understand that.
He's being serious.
Well,
folks.
that's because people are going to call on January 5th, and they're going to want to know if they can get something, and I will have to say, no.
That's because you can still use June.
That's true, but I'm not allowed to bring that up anymore.
I'm sorry. Let's move on.
Well, before we move on to King Charles, we're so excited to have our friend Samuel O'Brien on to talk to us about what's happening with gold and a whole lot more. You're not going to believe some of the things we're going to bring up in our conversation with Samuel today. Hope he's ready for it. Samuel, welcome to the Endtime Show.
Thank you. Good to be here as always. It's exciting times.
We are honored to have you. Before we get into the conversation, how was your Thanksgiving and how did you celebrate?
It was wonderful. Yeah, my fiance is from South Carolina, so we did a traditional turkey roast. That was good. Ate too much food, which is part of the fun as well. But no, it was good. It was good. It was pretty chilled, but it was good. How about yours?
Very well, and it sounds like you're fitting in just fine around here.
Yeah.
Yes. Sir.
Now, did you
yes,
watch
sir.
the Thanksgiving parade before y'all had Thanksgiving dinner? Because that's a big deal around here.
Yeah, I like to watch that. It's like a little tradition to wake up, watch the floats go past. It's fun. It's fun. No, it's a good tradition. I like it. I like everyone showing gratitude towards each other as well. I think that's a beautiful thing that we don't do enough. So I definitely. It's one of my favorite American holidays that we have. But we normally celebrate Christmas, a little bit harder. But I find that the Thanksgiving here is like the number one for a lot of people, which is interesting.
Well, I hope your friends and family will still talk to you from across the pond.
Yeah, I watched that podcast as well that you sent me just before the show last time as well, and that was good.
Okay.
It was good and informative about how it all started, how it all began.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Well, let's get into gold because obviously gold is surging again. What do you think is driving this spike right now? Some suggest that Haggai's prophecy from Haggai chapter 2 that the silver is God's and the gold is God's. It's connected, or maybe it's just economic turbulence. What do you think?
I think there's a lot of buying going on at the moment. We'll get into the Haggai prophecy in a little second, but what's happened since we last spoke? Last time we were speaking about Tether and this USDT, this stable coin that could effectively be the next central bank digital currency in a different light. Tether, the company behind that, in Q3 alone bought 116 tons of gold, which is about $114 billion worth. So that outpaces the holdings of Turkey, Kazakhstan, and Brazil for that quarter. So yeah, they're obviously backing their currency, which is meant to be backed by US dollars and treasuries. They're also buying a crazy amount of gold as well. So yeah, next year, I think if we just see a small shift, an asset reallocation from people currently in equities and bonds, and they move even a small percentage of that into gold, then we're going to see prices continue to skyrocket, which will be where we think things are going to head for sure.
Now, you said you're going to get into Haggai in a second. Are we ready to go there yet?
I'm ready, yeah.
All right, what are you thinking?
So, yeah, building on surging gold prices and biblical wealth transfer in the end times, what I've seen a lot of people speaking about most recently is Italy's aggressive push to reclaim sovereignty over their national gold reserves. So currently they have around $300 billion worth of gold held in the ECB, the European Central Bank. They obviously want to take back control of that, which could suggest some accelerating global upheaval happening. Their prime minister is far right government at the moment. In December 2025, they sought out an amendment to declare that as property of the Italian people, rather than under the central bank's independent control, which the ECB were basically saying you can't do that. That violates the EU treaties and undermines their monetary union and stuff like that. But in my eyes, this could create and frame a domino effect in dismantling the deep state and the financial cartel, with Italy starting with that, home to the Vatican, positioned as a key battleground following the Pope's death. And there's also rumors of the Vatican gold stashes as well. There's rumors of some of that gold being sent to the US. Nothing is confirmed around that yet. But I think that Italy's gold grab could effectively be a precursor to a full EU collapse, which could mirror Haggai's prophecy of nations being shaken to release their wealth, central banks like the ECB lose control, a bit of shift, and it could be a new gold-backed driven system, kind of like how Nezra and Jezera with the National Economic Security and Recovery Act demonstrated could work. Recently, I think that's more interesting because what we've seen with Nezra was effectively this idea that we could eliminate global debt, replace income tax with sales tax. And what we've seen Trump talking about most recently is eliminating income tax and replacing that, with tariff income. So there's definitely some similarities around that. Do you see that?
Yeah, Samuel, you're kind of touching on some of those things that we talk about a lot, and some of that sounds a little bit like conspiracy theory when you're talking about the thing about the Vatican and they are holding massive hidden gold reserves and things like that. That borders on that, doesn't it? Or is this a credible claim? I mean, is this something that's really going on?
I don't think we'll ever know if there's true credibility behind it, because nothing's proven. What we do know this year is that there's been shipping a lot of gold, physical golds, and normally they trade gold in the futures markets. We've seen a huge uplift of gold arriving into the US. For what reason, we're not entirely sure of, but that's been 700% higher this year than it was last year. So there's something going on there. Germany did this before as well. I remember on our first conversation that we had, and you were informing me about the Revelation 13 with the leopard and how that could connote to being Germany. And Germany did also initiate gold repatriation in 2013. They wanted to move all of it from New York and Paris back to Frankfurt. And then in 2025, there's renewed domestic pressure to do that as well, because they're concerned with geopolitical tensions, concerns over asset safety and global instability as well. So yeah, look, it's for sure it's speculation, but I think that these countries definitely want their gold back for a reason. And I think that's what we're reading into at the moment.
So Samuel, to circle back to something you said a little bit ago about Italy trying to pull more than 300 billion in gold back from the European Central Bank, why is that such a big deal?
Well, they're effectively saying that they don't have confidence, and I think that the quote was that they don't believe in the custodian of the European Central Bank and them to effectively keep it safe. So they're saying, we want to have our gold back here where we know where it's at, which is, if anyone owns gold, I encourage you to do that. You want to get your hands on what you've got. And I think that the Italians are effectively looking at the European system at the moment and thinking, there could be some collapse coming, and if that is coming, then we want to get control of our money, and that is by pulling this large amount of gold back out of their hands.
So let me ask this real quick while we're on that subject, because this is something we've been seeing a lot too, is that Europe seems to be gearing for war with Russia. So do you think that any of this flags signs of that, maybe that they're preparing for war and that's why they're doing that, or is this something else you think?
It could definitely be driven by geopolitical tensions, i.e. war. I know that recently Putin and Zelensky were speaking around this, and Putin said that he's also ready to go to war with Europe. He's not afraid of that, and I think a lot of European nations are probably quite fearful of that. We saw what happened in the last World War that we had. These countries can flip sides and allegiances and stuff like that. So yeah, if there was war within Europe, then I think every country would want their own assets held in their own bases. You wouldn't want that held in one central location.
Right.
So these moves that are happening, they can point to a financial reset that's coming, and I think Doug mentioned conspiracy theory, and I think you mentioned Nesera before that. So when people hear Nesera or Gesera, from your perspective, is that realistic?
I mean, I think that realistic in a way of like, would it be implemented how it was initially sought to be? No, but I think that there could be versions of that with some sort of financial reset coming. And yeah, I think looking at what Trump is doing so far, there are more similarities and differences surrounding that. The talk about debt forgiveness. I know in the last administration as well, there was all this loan forgiveness and stuff like that. So in theory, the biggest debtor in the world is the United States of America. and that debt is astronomical. So if there was some debt forgiveness happening, then that would truly benefit the United States. So could that come in some form or fashion? Would it be exactly how they outlined? Probably not, but it definitely could come in a similar fashion, for sure.
So for everyday Americans, people like me, we're watching all this volatility. What are practical steps that everyday Americans should consider when it comes to protecting their family and stewarding their resources wisely?
Well, I think the number one thing that people have always done since the dawn of time is own gold and silver. That way you have control of your own assets, your own money. You know, if everything is digital in a digital world and we do see some sort of financial reset, then the only control that you can really have over that is what you can put your hands on. And, you know, if the system goes down, or if you own just money that's in the ether and stuff like that, then it's not really real, is it? And I think that's why, you know, you're not going to put all of your money into gold and silver, but definitely to have some money in gold and silver is a way to keep custodian of your own wealth. And that, you know, it's doing pretty well as an investment vehicle as well. In the last year, silver just broke $61. It's up 100% year to date. Gold's up nearly 60%. So by doing it to protect yourself, just to safeguard it, you know, if we did have a financial reset is one thing, but also putting it into gold and silver should yield you some good returns as well. So I think both are worthwhile right now.
Samuel, that's what I like so much about you and True Gold Republic and endtimegold.com is you don't say go put everything in gold. You always give that line that you don't recommend putting everything in gold or silver, but you should have some in there. And of course, with True Gold Republic, there's no minimums to convert your existing IRA or 401k into a 401k or IRA backed by gold. You don't have the minimums like other companies do. So I really appreciate that about you and your company. Now, just I guess one last question here for fun. If you had to pick between gold and silver right now to invest in, which one would you choose? Because I know this is a hot topic online.
I think I'm going to go with silver. I just think that it's broken through some key markers of getting over $40 and $50 now through $60. So I think, you know, from gold is at 4,200 right now. If you was to say, would gold get to 8,400 next year, you know, would that be achievable? I don't think it will probably get quite that high. I think, you know, most people are projecting somewhere between 5,500 and 6,000 for next year, which is still pretty good. But I truly think that silver is now on a run. There was a lot of short contracts taken out on silver, but I think that the buying now has just got too big. And I think next year we could probably see silver at somewhere around $100. And yeah, I didn't think it was going to be this high already, but now that the momentum's there, it's crazy. You know, it was $50 like 2 weeks ago. Now it's 61. So yeah, I think that's where I'd put my money. And the good thing about silver as well is that, you know, it's affordable still for most.
Yeah.
Everyone can really afford silver. Gold now is getting pretty expensive.
Yeah. Well, you've given us a lot to think about, so we appreciate that so much. Of course, we tell everybody to go to endtimegold.com or call 800-628-GOLD to buy gold or silver, physical gold or silver. And, of course, with Samuel and True Gold Republic, they guarantee the best price anywhere. So if you can find a price better than theirs, they'll beat it. And, of course, they ship it straight to your door, insured, and so it's extremely convenient for you. And like I mentioned, you can convert your 401ks and IRAs into gold today. So start by going to endtimegold.com. Check them out today. Samuel, it's always a pleasure to see you and to have you on the show. You always bring so much wisdom and knowledge to the conversation. And today it seemed like you might have been auditioning a little bit for your own prophecy show on OnlySource.
I enjoyed it. Thank you, chaps. It's been a pleasure.
Have a good one. God bless you.
God bless.
Did Samuel blow you away like he did me?
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's bringing up scripture references. He's talking about end-time prophecy and current events.
And he remembered the reference to the leopard.
Yeah, he did.
How about that? I mean, that's not everybody. Most people we mention that, they might think we're a little off, but
well, he might think we're a little off, but go show Samuel some love at endtimegold.com. All right, Doug. So we've talked about the gold. Mm-hmm. Now let's get into this King Charles thing, because there was such a wild post that they made, the king made, on, I think it started on Instagram and then went out to the other social media platforms. But the indication there is that he's kind of thinking this is it for him. Like, this could be his last Christmas.
Yeah, well, he was diagnosed with cancer.
Right.
Which, they haven't ever really said what kind of cancer it is or how bad it is. But, yeah, this article that I got this information from, this comes from the Gateway Pundit, and it says King Charles III, who has been battling an unspecified form of cancer, has released his 2025 Christmas card amid growing concern that this holiday season may be his last. The card, shared on Instagram, features a joyful photo of Charles and Queen Camilla holding hands at a villa of Votanski in Rome earlier this year. Behind these cheerful images, however, sources close to the monarchy report that Charles's health is declining and that his family fears his time may be short. Despite his frailty. I'm sorry, I was misreading that in my mind.
You are so strong and manly, you don't even recognize the word.
I don't. What is frailty?
Man.
No, anyway.
What a man.
Charles is determined to fulfill his royal duties. His plans to attend the Christmas morning service at Mary Magdalene Church and deliver his annual holiday speech, insisting that nothing will stop him from carrying out his responsibilities. So it's interesting, and there's a whole reason why we're talking about this today. And remember, Vince, one of the big things that we feel like happened this year was that when King Charles went to the Vatican with Pope Leo, and the significance of the symbolism behind the First Holy Roman Empire, where Pope Leo crowned a King Charles, which was Charlemagne.
Thousands of years ago, right?
Well, it was 800. What was it? 825 AD. Maybe?
Yeah, so we're talking 1700-ish years ago.
Yeah, on Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that we're talking about Christmas here and a Christmas card and all these things. But anyway, it seems symbolic what was happening since King Henry VIII or was it the 8th? Yes, I think it was, that broke away from the Roman Catholic Church and started the Church of England because he wanted to get divorced to his then queen and marry another woman, and the Vatican did not allow it. So he broke away.
To go start his own religion.
Yeah, start his own church. Yeah,
that must have been really bad.
It must have been. She must have been something else.
It's all her fault, I'm sure.
Well, let's not go there. I don't want to get in trouble with the ladies today. But anyway, the thing is that this was a reconciliation, that we hadn't seen since the Reformation, this type of situation where they came back together. So it's important that we note these things, because one of the things we talked about that day was, could we be seeing King Charles evolve into that Antichrist type figure, that Revelation 13 talks about. So it's interesting because of what the Vatican gave King Charles that day and the significance behind that. So I thought we'd talk about that just to recap, help everybody understand.
Well, also, to me, it's so wild that the names are the same.
Yeah.
King Charles, Pope Leo, and here we are this year with King Charles and Pope Leo, and they're doing a very, very similar thing, and it's almost like there's some significance to that. We don't believe in coincidences.
Right.
We think there's a purpose for everything, and God doesn't make mistakes, and that his timing is perfect, and his ways are above our ways. So when these things happen, if we're not looking for it, it's just another day. But when we see this, we're going, okay, you've got our attention, Lord. What do we need to see?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's the part that jumps out to me. And then when I see that chair, I'm going, what in the world? Especially when we know that King Charles is at the end of his life. He's not getting any younger, and he's got cancer, and he's, of course, now come out. It's as if it's his last Christmas. And so when the Pope comes out and says this is for King Charles and his heirs, and then gives him a throne, basically,
Yeah.
that's a pretty significant thing to pay attention to.
And that's the crazy thing, is that it was as if they were looking toward the future, because it's not just this was dedicated to King Charles, but this is anyone who is an heir to the throne also, the significance of this chair. So let's talk about the chair and why it was given,
Okay.
and just kind of recap on that. Because the chair it's a permanently installed seat placed in the Basilica of St. Paul, right outside the walls of Rome. So this is it's going to be there forever, permanently put there. We go there, or we have in the past when we go to Rome on our Israel tours. We've done Israel tours where we go to Israel part of it and we go to Rome another part because of the significance of the two. And we go to the Basilica of St. Paul. I've been there. Have you been to Rome
Never.
yet?
I'd love to go.
It's an incredible place to visit. And when you go in the Basilica, and there's some interesting things there, but that's where this is going to be housed. And it was gifted on an occasion of when Charles went in 2025 to reconcile that and be connected again with the Roman Catholic Church. And he was being given the title of Royal Comforter of Basilica, a gesture symbolizing spiritual fellowship and renewed ties between the Catholic Church and the British monarchy, otherwise known as
Politics and religion.
politics and religion.
And just to tie something back in, it just hit me. King Charles is divorced and remarried.
Yeah.
And so now they're tied back together, even though there was a divorce and remarriage, which is part of what the separation was about
Isn't
before.
that something? I didn't even think about that.
funny.
But, well, it's interesting, Vince. Very good. Way to put that together.
About time.
Yeah.
5 years in, I finally got a good one.
All right.
So let's look at the chair. We've got a photo
Yeah, let's
of it.
do it.
It's probably going
So-
to look a little nicer than any chair we have.
Yeah, probably so. So, yeah, so there's a picture of it there. And the chair's decorated with the king's coat of arms that you see at the top of it there. And it also features a Latin inscription of ut unum sint, meaning that they may be one. Interesting that that's what it means. They may be one, especially because of what we talk about with a one world government and a one world religious system. And Vince just helped us understand this is a marriage of politics and religion. The motto reflects the spirit of Christian unity and underpinning the gesture. The chair sits in a place of honor at the Basilica and is intended to remain there permanently, available for Charles and future British monarchy when they visit.
I got to be honest, the chair's a little underwhelming.
Yeah, it's not everything that I thought it would be, but I don't know if that's real gold on the top or not. I don't know anything about that.
It looks like an old chair that's been refurbished that was in an old church somewhere, an old Catholic church.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I know a guy named David Scarberry that does a whole lot better job at reupholstering
no
old chairs.
doubt. And he's an end-timer. He would
Yeah.
have done a way better job.
He would have for sure. But anyway, it could
I'm sure
be.
it's very expensive.
I'm sure it is too. And I did more than one search on that to make sure that I verified that is the chair, and everything pointing to that is the only picture we have of the chair, and that is the chair. So the gift symbolizes a historic thaw and reapproachment, a sign of growing ecumenical goodwill between the Catholic Church and the monarchy of England. Once again, the religious and the political. Centuries after their split during the Reformation, by granting the chair for Charles and his heirs, the Vatican has extended a gesture not just to the current king, but to the future of the British monarchy, acknowledging a long-term hope for unity, reconciliation, and mutual respect. How about that?
That sounds like what's coming, Doug.
Yeah,
A lot like what's coming.
yeah.
So, who is the heir to that throne?
Well, that's a very good question, and one that we'll have to get to when we come back from the break.
All right, you're not going to want to go anywhere. There's a whole lot more for the second half of the show. We'll be right back after this break.
frequently asked questions we receive at Endtime Ministries is, why do you guys teach the rapture happens after the Great Tribulation? Should we be passively waiting to be taken at any moment or actively preparing for the greatest revival in history? Paul states plainly it will not occur until after the man of sin, the Antichrist, is revealed, and that will not happen until God declares it is time. I will walk you through a timeline of the final 7 years. The rapture, the marriage supper of the Lamb, and the second coming of Jesus Christ is one continuous event. It's not an event separated by 7 years.
Now available for pre-order at endtime.com. Go to endtime.com/next or call 1-800-ENDTIME.
Hey, before we go any further, I need to tell you something important. Right now, we're running our Christmas sale, and we're clearing out hundreds of DVDs, books, and prophecy resources. That includes some of our founder, Irvin Baxter's original teachings, many of which will never be available again once this inventory is gone. This is your final chance to own physical copies of these powerful faith-building lessons that have changed lives all over the world. You can pick them up for starting at just $1, $5, or $10 while supplies last. But don't wait. When they're gone for good. Go now to endtime.com/deals or call 800-363-8463 to place your order today. Seriously, when they're gone, they're gone. Welcome back to the Endtime Show. Vince Stegall here with Doug Norvell. We're happy you've joined us today. We're talking about a variety of subjects. We've highlighted, of course, how gold is rising, the kings of the earth, and we're in the middle of that, and then there's a coming war, and we're just trying to figure out what 2026 is signaling. Doug, what is God going to do this year to advance all the things to get us closer to the second coming of Jesus? So that's what we're highlighting today. And before we move forward, I do want to say seriously, those deals are going to go.
That makes me smile every time I hear you say that. Seriously.
Doug, pick a number between 1 and 5.
3.
Number 3, America's Prophesied Future. That's one of the items on the sale, Doug,
nice.
At endtime.com/deals. That's Dave's second latest Endtime original. Of course, The Rapture's Not Next has just came out. Right before that was America's Prophesied Future.
The Rapture's Not Next. I have there's a gentleman that's in our church.
You got to talk about this.
Yeah,
it's not on the deals thing. It's just new.
No, it's just new, but it's incredible. We just played a commercial for it a while ago, but he told me on Sunday after church, he said he got the he did the pre-order and he got it, and he said, I absolutely love it. He said that he loves the track that has the timeline on it that you can fold out and that you can give away to people, because so many people want those kind of notes and they want to be able to have a timeline where they can see everything and count it down. He said it's so incredible that he said one of the things that his wife is very analytical in her thinking, and she likes to have everything where it goes, cross all the T's and dot every I, and he was able to show her that, and she very much approved. So he was excited, said it was great, and he absolutely loved it. So there you go. That comes from somebody who actually bought the physical package and got that pre-order, and he said it's wonderful. So
they're in now.
Yes.
But the pre-order offer is still available. So if you go to endtime.com/next, you're going to be able to get that still. That's going to be active for a little while longer. You're going to get, of course, the new Endtime original, but also 20 different pieces of this printed literature, 10 of each, 26 reasons the rapture happens after the tribulation, and 10 of what happens next, which features that end-time timeline. So right here in my jacket pocket, I could pull it out right now. I should have done that. Pull it out and open it up, and now you've got a timeline that you can display. And then, of course, in the video, it's on the screen behind us, and Dave is walking through that teaching. So endtime.com/next. I know that what we ordered, and the initial order, is almost gone. So I don't know how long these are going to be available right now with this deal, but nonetheless, they are available right now. Endtime.com/next.
Well, timelines were always popular because we've had some timelines. and they were always popular, but we never had one that was small enough to be able to do that unfolds, and you have all the information right there with scripture references and everything. So pretty cool.
Now, Doug, I do want to highlight, too, this weekend we had a wonderful opportunity to spend some time with some of the Endtime partners. They gathered right here in our headquarters here and in our studio, and we had a wonderful time together. And I just left, even though we're all exhausted because there's a lot of work leading up to the day. Yeah. And then, of course, throughout the event, we're having a good time, but you're also going and going and going. And then afterwards, we're still not totally wrapped up from all of that. So yes,
we're still dodging Christmas trees out there.
Yeah, that's right. It's tiring, but not so tiring that you don't feel energetic. And I don't know, just getting to rub shoulders with our partners and look them in the eye and talk face to face and laugh and talk about our families and all the things. It's not just current events and Bible prophecy that we're talking about, but we had such a wonderful time. And at my table specifically, I got to talk to a lot of different people, but at my table specifically, I got to meet some fairly new end-timers. They're new to, like, first time we've ever met them in person. Neil and Dawson, they came all the way from Wisconsin. And man, it was the whole thing we like to call God gravity. It was a special connection that I got to have with them, me and my family and them, and we had a wonderful time. And I'm just so thankful for.
And then they went to church with you, didn't they?
They did. They came to church the next morning, so we got to worship together in a service, and it was just a wonderful time to get to meet Neil and Dawson, and from Wisconsin, even though they're Green Bay Packers fans.
Well, so is Dave Robbins. So.
I know, it's such a terrible thing. Especially, I was raised a Vikings fan, so it's terrible. But that's neither here nor there. We don't let sports stand in the way of anything. No. But wonderful time. It was great. I wish we could do this more often. I hope we do, where we get to rub shoulders with partners in person. It's so special. So right before the break there, Doug, we were talking about the heirs of the throne. So what the Catholic Church, with the Vatican, the Pope, they did with this this chair. I'm trying to find the name of this chair. The royal, is that what it's called? The chair?
I don't know.
The royal, I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Whatever the chair is called. Yeah. Nonetheless, they gave this chair to King Charles.
Yes.
And it's basically meaning that they may be one. He's has a special seat in the Vatican Church now. And it wasn't just limited to King Charles, but it was specifically mentioned that it's for his heirs.
Yes.
So when I look, he has 2 sons. Is that correct?
Yes, he has Prince William and Harry, who
Prince Harry
actually gave up his title.
So he's backed out of the royal family.
I think he actually lives here in the United States now.
In Canada, I thought.
Oh, is it Canada?
Yeah, the U.S. is too legalistic for them, I think.
Okay.
They can't live here. I don't know. I could be wrong. I know they were in Canada for a while, but that's neither here nor there.
I just know his wife is an actress from Hollywood, so I figured they moved to California.
Well, Prince Harry is no longer Prince Harry.
No, he's not.
So there's only one heir that we're really talking about here, I believe.
Well, Prince William and his children.
Sure.
Yeah, but yes, Prince
But
William.
Out of all the next king is going to be Prince William. I think is how that works.
Yes, that's the way that the order seems to fall.
So then the person that would fill this seat, if this is in fact King Charles's last Christmas to be alive, would be Prince William, who would be promoted to King William.
Yes.
Now, isn't it true that Prince Andrew was next in line to be king or something like that?
Man,
but now that he's out of the way,
because I don't really follow a lot of that, but I know that he was stripped of his titles,
right,
because of the Epstein
situation.
Right,
I am so unfamiliar with how the royal family works. It's pretty odd to me. But I heard somewhere along the way, I think this is true, that that Prince Andrew was next in line to be king or something like that. And that may not be true, like I said. But either way, Prince William is who we're looking at. It's the heir of King Charles. And so he would fill this seat were something to happen to King Charles.
And the interesting thing is that the Vatican, of course, has this information, knows Charles is sick, but did this during the time of his reign, brought him in, and then made it available for his heirs. If you remember, Vince, back when it was Prince Charles, before he became king, he was making a speech at the WEF, and he talked about how there needed to be a military backing behind the environmental situation, like taking care of the earth, and that it needed to be backed by military. And he said, he was speaking, and he made a comment about someone that had trillions of dollars at their disposal. And everybody was like, who is he talking about? Could he be talking about the Antichrist? Well, could he have been talking about his son, knowing that he would be heir to the throne, and he had only a short time? So I'm not saying that's what he said, and I'm not trying to start any new conspiracy theory, because I know there's plenty out there already about William could be the Antichrist. He comes from the right place, folks. He does come from the right area, and this is why we're talking about it today, because he would be much younger. He is very well liked, and he's done and said some questionable things. I know that there is conspiracy out there, and you may have seen it, the photo of him holding a lamb, and it was almost like in the photo there was a reference to him being like a Christ-like figure, like a shepherd holding a lamb. And so interesting things, and so we'll just kind of throw that out there. We see what you guys see, and we hear what you folks hear. And so there you go. That would be the thing. Now, how do we tie all this into Bible prophecy is the important thing. And so, our guest, Samuel, alluded to some of the things that we talk about quite often, and we shared it with him when he was live in the studio. But I wanted to go back, and I want to read Revelation 13, 1 and 2 first, but then I want to add something to it, because there's been a lot of discussion in the chat lately, and I want to kind of put it into some of that, of what's being said there. But do you mind reading Revelation 13, 1 and 2, and let's talk about that and break that down a little bit as how it pertains to what we're talking about.
It says, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority."
Yeah, so remember, everybody, that the beast symbolized kings and kingdoms. We're told that in Daniel chapter 7. But we're focusing on the lion right now for this particular story. The lion is Great Britain, okay? So in Daniel chapter 7, when he sees the lion has eagle's wings on him, and Daniel watches until the wings are plucked off of the lion. We know that the lion's a symbol of Great Britain. Great Britain will even tell you this. Anyone from Great Britain will tell you this. And as a matter of fact, just a few weeks ago, while they were having the protests there about Islam and the rise of Islam within there, there was a guy that climbed up on one of the lions, stood on the head of the lion with his British flag, and waved it from up there. So it was great symbolism to see that. So having said that, the lion here is the mouth of that beast. So could this have something to do with what we're watching unfold? That's kind of just a question I'm asking, because as we see this, we see that the lion's mouth, when you think of the mouth, remember what Scripture says about the Antichrist and the little horn being the Antichrist. In Daniel 7, he's known as little horn. It says that he speaks great blasphemies. So his mouth is being used there. Also in Revelation 13, it says that the Antichrist speaks, or the beast speaks, blasphemies against God, against heaven, and against the angels, and against the saints. And so it's got a great mouth, and the mouth is the mouth of the lion. So I'm not saying this is, what that's talking about for sure. We don't know, but it does line up there, and it could be. Now, the reason why I want to look at Revelation 13:3 is because of, and what Dave talked about yesterday on his program when he talked about this 10-nation alliance that Trump is setting up right now for the Gaza situation, where we have basically a peacekeeping force in Gaza that's going to come in. He's got 10 nations lined up, Arab and European nations that are lining up there. And so there were a lot of people in the chat saying, well, doesn't that mean that Trump is the Antichrist? And, he got shot in the head and he's still alive and all these things. And so they were saying that Trump fits all that, okay, because of this scripture. Will you read that scripture for us, Revelation 13:3, and read that, because I want to kind of break that down specifically and how we're not talking about Trump here.
Yes, but if I can.
Yeah.
You mentioned conspiracy theory a second ago.
I'm sorry.
I just learned that there's some people that think King Charles is a descendant of King David.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I've read that too.
It's not proven, but it's believed by many.
Yeah.
So for whatever that's worth, go
He
down
also
that.
claims that he's from Vlad. He's kin to Vlad the Impaler, who was like who Dracula was written after. So
Well, I don't know what
it's not
significance
great
that.
to know that.
I bring that up to simply say, if that, obviously, there's never going to be a way to prove it's true.
Yeah.
But if it's believed by many, how could that play into standing on the Temple Mount and proclaiming to be the Messiah if one thinks a person is from the lineage of King David? How does that?
Yeah, that would be huge. I mean, for people, if they believe that. If they can make that claim, if they can back that claim up in any kind of way or make it appear that way, yeah, he or his heir.
Just something to think about, and
Yeah.
go down the bunny trail, and I'm sure it'll lead. All roads lead to Qatar right now, but we're not talking about Qatar today, at least not yet.
I thought they led to Obama.
Well,
Barack Hussein Obama.
Does he have ties to Qatar though?
Probably so.
You said you want me to read Revelation
Yes,
13?
please.
All right, let me try to get through this. Just verse 3.
Yes.
All right. And I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Okay, so people are saying that this pertains to Trump. Okay, so an earshot, being shot in the ear, I would say does not, first of all, have anything to do with being shot in the head and recovering. Okay, he got grazed because of a miraculous moment where I believe God turned his head so that the bullet did not hit him there, and it grazed his ear. Okay, so that's a big difference. But first, what we want to look at here is it says, I saw one of the heads of the beast as if it were wounded to death. Remember, the beast has 7 heads. That's what you just read in Revelation 13:1, that it's a 7-headed beast. Those heads are, every beast in Daniel 7 has 1 head except for the leopard, who Samuel talked about earlier. We've told him that we believe that that is symbolic of Germany. So remember, that leopard has 4 heads. The Bible says that dominion was given to it. Every time that it has a head, dominion was given to it. Okay? So, whenever Hitler's Third Reich happened, so that was their third rise to power. After World War II, remember, the Berlin Wall came up. This is why, Irvin Baxter wrote the book, A Message to the President. It's because he could see in Scripture that this was talking about the Berlin Wall, that when the Berlin Wall came down, that Germany would rise back to power and they would become very powerful. Well, we are watching the leopard rise back up to power, and a lot of people say that this is their fourth and most richest Reich yet. So Hitler's was the Third Reich, and we're watching Germany rise up for a 4th time and becoming the body of the world government. That's what it says. The leopard is the body of it. It had the body of the leopard. And we're watching Germany rise up and become very powerful. But we also know that the beast had 7 heads. So this is not talking about an individual that gets a headshot. This is talking about one of the heads of that beast that is prophetically talked about in both Daniel and Revelation. It's a world government that it's talking about. So I just want to clear that up. It says one of the heads of the beast, not the head of the Antichrist. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'm looking at the clock, Doug. So, okay, we got like 12 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I know we've got a lot to cover here still, so I don't know exactly where you want to go. But while you're looking at that and figuring it out, I want to remind everybody we need your help sharing this video. Make sure you share right now. Share it in groups that you're in. Email a link, text a link, however you can share it right now. Please do that. It helps us out so much getting the word out around the world. You'd be amazed. Just the reels that we do, Doug, this year alone had almost 10 million views. It's unbelievable how awesome the End Timers are at sharing our content, and that goes a long way in reaching around the world. So we're so blessed by that. We need your help. Share the video. Make sure you're engaging in the chat, and then, of course, thumbs up, give us a heart, whatever is available to you wherever you're watching. Please do that now. It really does help. And leave if you only listen to us on podcasts, which so many people do, leave us a review. Those 5-star reviews, good reviews on all the podcasting platforms help so much. So help us out in that way.
Yeah.
All right, I took up a minute there, Doug. So now we have 11 minutes.
Well,
help take us home.
Sure. I mean, because I do want to get to the second part that we're talking about today with Israel. But so the bottom line to remember about this situation with King Charles, and this could be his last Christmas, his son rises to power. He could be a very strong political leader because he is very well liked. He seems to have the heart of his mother, and everybody loved Lady Diana and Princess Diana, and so they really look to him, seeing parts of his mom there, and they love him just because of his mom. And so anyway, keep that in mind, because that throne in the Vatican would become his, that chair, and he would have this kind of relationship with Pope Leo, the Pope at this time. And it gives us a younger guy that we're looking at, somebody that would appear to be more popular and more strong. That was one of the problems I had with King Charles, is that to me, King Charles, and I don't mean to offend anybody when I say this, but from my perspective, looking at him, he was kind of wimpy. He wasn't like the leader that I thought of, when I would be thinking of that. But I can see William stepping up into that role and being more strong than that, because there's been pictures of his military career where you see him carrying a machine gun and hanging out of a helicopter and stuff. I mean, he's had a military career, and there's pictures of him like that. So anyway, just something to put on that back burner and think about. And we'll close with that that Antichrist will have a partner called the false prophet. You see that in Revelation 13, Revelation 17, and 18. And so we will keep our eyes on developments there within the Vatican and Europe, or Great Britain. Now, let's move quickly into this poll that was taken in Israel, Vince. I'll let you take it from there.
Okay, so in November, just a few weeks ago, Israel Democracy Institute did a widespread poll, a widespread survey among Israelis about the likelihood of new wars or renewed conflicts in 2026.
Yes.
So, from what it seems like they want us to believe, everything is settled down and we're going to navigate this for some time. However, what do people that live there think? Well, 71% expect renewed fighting with Hezbollah in Lebanon. 69% believe war with Iran is likely in 2026. That is Israelis.
Yeah.
53% anticipate renewed conflict with Hamas in Gaza. 47% think clashes could resume with the Houthi rebels in Yemen. The poll also indicates that 59% of Israelis believe a new West Bank uprising could occur soon.
And we've heard rumor of that from a friend of ours, a very close friend of ours that would be in the know on some of those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Can we say more about that, or is that all we can say?
I don't know. I don't want to say anything that I'm not supposed to say, so I'm going to leave it there.
So just look for it, pray about it. These are things we should be praying about.
Yeah.
64% of Jewish Israelis expect an intifada, and only 36% of Arab Israeli Israelis consider it likely. And then additionally, 55% of Israelis think the U.S. plan to sell F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia will harm Israel's security. Now, I've got to take this to the next level here, Doug.
Absolutely.
This survey was done prior to this intelligence sharing deal that Kash Patel is in Qatar right now. The director of the FBI is in Qatar, or was. I guess he may be gone by now, but earlier today or last night, he was in Qatar, and they're finalizing this deal where we're getting into intelligence sharing with Qatar.
Yeah.
What in the world's that
The
about?
head of our FBI.
Well, and even Qatar, it's like, and of course,
I know it's your favorite.
Tucker Carlson is there.
Oh, that was good.
He was giving a speech,
like that.
talking about giving, talking about buying a home in Qatar because it's so lovely there.
Oh yeah, yeah. You go right ahead,
I
Tucker.
don't know. That's so weird.
So Vince, the interesting thing here, and Dave touched on this yesterday too, is that we know that there's a war coming, and we believe that that war is probably going to happen. In our minds, it makes more sense that the war comes first, and because of this war, and because of the catastrophic amount of damage and people that will be killed in this war, that will cause people to force Israel into a treaty, force the Middle East into a treaty, not just Israel, but the Middle East as a whole. And so we believe that it makes more sense that war happens first. The only thing that Scripture does not tell us for sure which one happens first. And so in our mind, we believe that Revelation 9:13 through 21 could happen first. And just so everybody understands what we're talking about there, is that it says that there's 4 angels that are bound in the river Euphrates. They're going to be loosed, and that they are going to start a war. Like those spirits are going to cause a war, and there's going to be a 200 million man army that will rise up, and they will kill with fire, smoke, and brimstone 1/3 of mankind out of this war. And so with it happening in the area of the Euphrates River, we can see that is this area we're talking about, the Middle East, these kingdoms that you mentioned in the survey, that they were saying Iran and Lebanon and all these areas, they're all right there in the borders of the Euphrates River. And one of the things, too, Vince, we saw before we came in here, well, I mean, I just saw it as we were having our meeting about today's program, that it looks like Syria is now gathering a military force to march into Damascus to try to push Israel back out of Syria, back to the Golan Heights. And they are claiming that they're coming to fight for Gaza. Now, remember, the new Syrian president, who is an ex-Taliban leader, he was in the White House just weeks ago as well, meeting with Trump, and received kind of a great welcome there. It wasn't as big as the Saudi Arabia prince, but it was a pretty big thing. There were people out there waving flags, and he gets out of the limo and does a photo op there as he was coming up or leaving. I don't know which one, coming or going. But anyway, we are seeing that Israel is convinced that even though Trump is talking ceasefire, remember, we've called it a ceasefire and not a peace agreement since this started, because we knew this was not what we were looking for in the Abraham Accord and the final peace agreement that would start the final 7 years from Daniel 9:27. We knew this wasn't it. We knew it was more like a ceasefire. So it looks like the majority of Israelis are on board with that they kind of know too. Look, just because it stopped a little bit doesn't mean that it's over. Yeah.
So what's next then?
So what's next? I believe that we're either going, I mean, these are things, and we'll talk about this more in the coming weeks, I'm sure, as we get closer to 2026. But these are things that we're watching right now that we can agree with and see. There is still a lot of turmoil there. Iran is still trying to gather troops and weaponry. There has been talk about something big coming in the West Bank area of Judea and Samaria. So this is very likely that in 2026, if not before, we could see something major happen there in the Middle East.
Well, we need to get ready.
Yeah.
This is very serious. We need to be praying. We need to be seeking God's face. We need to be studying His Word and going and reaching others.
Amen.
It is now, I mean, it is so important that we are reaching others as we look at, I mean, this is, we've said it before recently, but this is more real than it's ever been. We're closer to this than we've ever been.
Yeah.
It's not, we've got to stop. Some people have been serious, but even then, we've got to go to new levels with our commitment to the Lord. So I'd encourage you today, make sure you go to endtime.com/reborn. Make sure you've been born again the Bible way, and you need to get in God's Word. Ask the Lord to open your eyes to see what He is saying in His Word, and let's go do the work of the Lord like never before. I'd encourage you to pray and seek the Lord for what you need to do in this hour, what you need to be getting ready for in 2026. And trust God above everything else. Don't forget endtime.com/deals for a wide variety of options for you that are available through the end of this month. And then, of course, watch.osn.tv. Right now, there's a Christmas special. You can get you can get half off. So go do that today. We'll see you right back here tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central Time. God bless.